Good morning. Welcome back to Locs Talk. We're going to talk about buildup and how to prevent it. We're going to talk about how to remove it too if you have it. But we want to be proactive. So let's talk about it. Sit tight. Welcome back. So again, this is a revised version of a Locs Talk I previously recorded on March 20th, 2022. It's being updated for the purposes of the brand that I use on my locks and other things, added information as well. But before we begin, like, subscribe, and share, please. Much appreciated. Also, you see my website also written just beneath that. Go ahead, browse around, look around. I'm going to put my website link in the description below as well. So let's get started. First question out the door: what is buildup? What is buildup? Buildup is a number of things. It is caused by product. When you put too much product in your hair and it acts as a magnet, so all the dirt, grim, and grime gets stuck to it. It also burrows down inside of your locks, so that's also buildup. Buildup is not just on the outside of your hair where you can see it. It's also on the inside. Outside, inside. So that's where a lot of people get misconstrued that buildup is only on the surface of the hair. But like a glacier or iceberg, so to speak, you only see a little bit of it on top. The problem is what's under the water. Yes? So that's what buildup is. And we're going to get further into it. So let's talk about it. Here, you see a demonstration of one lock after it's been washed. The outside seems like there's no problem. It's clear, it looks clean, it looks fresh. And then you take some scissors to it and you split it in half and you open it up. Remember what I said about the iceberg under the water? The inside is under the water when it comes to locks. And when you see this, that's buildup. And that's caused by a number of things, which we will get into as we progress through this video. But yes, there is far more beneath the surface. So let's talk about how to prevent that from happening. So I get asked the question, well, how do I know if there is buildup inside of my lock? Now, my locks right now, they're braided. However, I'm still going to do a demo on my hair. This is what I call the squeeze test. Excuse me. I know it sounds sexy, but that's not my voice. The squeeze test. So the squeeze test is generally, if you see how I'm squeezing my hair right now, you see how my fingers tend to just kind of bounce back. It's kind of springy. Yeah. Well, that's because locks, as I said before, locks are porous. So it's almost like a sponge. And when you squeeze it, it's supposed to give you a little give back. It's not supposed to, just feel like hard logs just sitting there. So with the first line on your thumb and your index finger, if you squeeze it, right, and you can feel the sponginess, that's where you feel it the most, then you're fine. But if you squeeze it and you feel a little tension, a little give back where it kind of hurts, because when you squeeze something hard with that first joint of your finger, you feel the pressure of it, and I wouldn't say it's painful, but it's not comfortable. It's like this dullness of pain. That means there's something inside of there, because your hair should not feel hard. It should always feel spongy with like a little give back. And even the most compacted lock will still give you that give back. It's still going to be soft and light. If it's hard, then there's buildup inside of that lock. So that's how you can kind of give yourself an idea that there's buildup inside of your lock. Now, sometimes the buildup inside of your lock could be lint that burrowed down into your lock. But even with that, because lint is fabric, you're still going to get that little bit of give. But when it's other things like product, it does solidify, turns into this hard, pasty, tar-like substance. And when it's dry, it just feels like cement gel. And you're going to feel the firmness of it when you do squeeze your lock. So the squeeze test. Yeah. So there are 3 primary causes for buildup in your locks. Number 1 is product buildup. Product buildup comes from using the wrong products, or using too much products, or just using trash products. Because sometimes you can get products that's made to work on your locks, but it's just, the formula is just, So yeah, we're going to talk about that. Number 2 would be lint. Now, lint can be collected in many different ways. Oftentimes people think, oh, I'll avoid being around things that have heavy lint on its surface. This t-shirt can accumulate lint on my locks over time. Like if it's just constantly rubbing on there. Like I said, it's like my cat, when she sits on something, I might not see all of the hairs that she left behind when she gets down. She'll leave just a few. But if she keeps jumping up there and sitting on it over and over and over and over and over, and I'm not doing anything to remove the hair after she gets off, it's going to build up, build up, build up, build up. So that's how lint does that. And 3rd is improperly washing your hair. How? We're going to get into that, but sit tight. We'll talk about it. Give me a second. So let's retract and talk about the products first. 2 of the biggest products for me that causes buildup is beeswax and honey. Yes, this is why I don't recommend using beeswax and honey on your hair, because as I said in previous videos, beeswax, it creates a barrier, so things can't get through it. If you've worked with beeswax before, it's hard for moisture to penetrate beeswax. So that's why I don't recommend using beeswax. And beeswax is sticky too, so it works like a magnet. It has, it draws in dirt and grime, and then eventually when it burrows down into your lock, it drags all that dirt, grim, and grime into your lock as well. You saw the illustration. That's nasty, right? Dang. If any of us cut our locks open and seen all of that in there, you'd be ready to cut off your locks. You're like, I don't want to be having that in my hair, right? So, and then honey, sticky. It's a sticky mess. And I don't mean that, oh, well, if I touched it in a jar and it wasn't sticky. I mean sticky to the point where other things, debris, dirt, grease, other hair, skin and scales from dandruff and stuff like that gets stuck to it. It gets burrowed into your locks, and it makes its home there. So, no, I don't recommend using that. And it's hard to get it out. Again, locks are porous. Therefore, those little openings are little traps and homes for product that is thick, dense, and sticky. It can get in there along with other stuff that's stuck to it and build up. So, no beeswax, no honey. Moving on to products that cause buildup is, again, oil, but not oil in itself, but the overuse of oil. Again, there are so many people that believe that oil is the holy grail of moisturizing. It is not. Oil aids or helps with moisture routines, but it's not a moisturizer. Okay? So when you use too much oil and it builds up on your hair and it's sitting on top of your hair, number 1, moisture is not breaking through that oil, and anything else, such as dirt, grim, and grime, is sticking to it, and now you have buildup. Now, oil causes more buildup on the surface as opposed to beneath the surface. But when you have scalp issues such as seborrheic dermatitis, psoriasis, dandruff, the dead skin cells and flakage and stuff gets attached to the oil and it forms this white paste that don't look pretty. I'm sure you've seen videos where lacticians are washing hair and you see them kind of like almost like a pimple popper and all of this stuff comes out of the lock. That's mixture of oil and whatever was stuck to it coming out of the lock. That too, they don't look good. So oil. Now moving further in, silicone. Silicone, as I said before, is it's an ingredient that's put in products specifically. It's put in a lot of products, but when it's put into hair products, its purpose is to create a smooth, shiny surface to the hair, to make the hair look smooth and shiny and pretty. However, the part they don't tell you is that thin cellophane coating that is there is, like invisible, like saran wrap, and it's just there. Your hair is under, right? My hand is the hair, cellophane, and anything trying to get in is not going to get past the cellophane that's on top of your hair. So your hair is suffering because the silicone is there. And then silicone is almost like floor wax. You know, when you put wax on the floor so you can keep people from scarfing up your floor? Well, the same thing happens when you have it on your hair. It keeps other things from scarfing up your hair, but at the same time, your hair underneath is not getting moisture or the nutrients that oil provides and things like that, and it's suffocating. And if your hair or your scalp becomes dry and you can't get moisture in there, what happens? Right, your hair becomes dull and dingy and just looks dirty all the time, and things like that. That comes from buildup of silicone. And silicone, like I said, it's like that invisible barrier that you can't see. So when it comes to silicone, you have to be a label reader. Read your labels. Anything in and in cone is a silicone-based product. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to say silicone. Silicone has a number of different names. In the future, I'm going to be recording another video talking about different ingredients, like main ingredients that you need to really keep an eye out for in your products when you are purchasing them. Okay, now we're back to that stubborn lint. Lint. How does it build up on your hair? There's different ways for lint to build up on your hair. Again, when it's rubbing on your clothes, lint can build up on your hair. Especially when your hair gets longer like mine is, and it's just always, down and is rubbing back and forth on your clothes, lint will build up in your hair. Your furniture, if you have like fabric type furniture and you're sitting back, even in your car, and it's like a fabric, it can rub and build up on your hair. Your bed, from your pillows to your sheets to your blankets, even from your pajamas, from you sleeping and tossing and turning, lint will build up in your hair. Okay? So different things can cause lint to build up in your hair. We're going to talk a little bit about how to prevent that from happening. But that's one of the cons of having locks, is preventing lint from building up in your hair. Because if it's on the surface, it's easy to get it off. Once it starts to get burrowed down in there, that's when it becomes a problem. Because if you try to go through all of these different measures trying to pick it out, you wind up damaging your lock, and that we don't want to do. So stay tuned for that. So now we're going to get into preventive and being proactive care. Number 1, use products that are meant to be used on locks. Okay? It's very important to use products that are meant to be used on locks. Using products that's meant for locks is very important for this purpose. Now I'm going to tell you a short story. When I started my locks, I was very knowledgeable on natural hair care. not so much on locks as of yet. But I foolishly thought that my knowledge on natural hair care was enough for me to maintain my locks. I couldn't have been more wrong. So I learned a lot of things through trial and error before I finally got over my ego and went and signed up. And that's when I found my mentor who trained me to properly care for locks, not just to do a retwist, but all of the ins and outs and everything. And I served as an apprentice with her for 3 years before I ventured off on my own and continued educating myself. But some of the trial and error, one of the things that I foolishly did was the same products that I was using on my natural hair, like leave-in conditioners and hair mask and all of that stuff. I thought I could use those on my locks. No. Natural hair care products are formulated to use on your natural hair, but not necessarily for locks. Okay? I'll say that again. Natural hair care products are meant and formulated to be used on natural hair, but not necessarily for locks. Now, there are a few that you can use on your locks if you use them properly, but a lot of the times, no. So be very careful and make sure the products that you're using are formulated to be used on locks. All right? With that being said, let's go to number 2. Use products properly. I'll say that again. Use them properly. There are directions on every bottle that tells you how to properly use it. Oftentimes, there are videos from the people who create the product that give demonstrations on how to properly use the products. Use your products properly. Don't overuse it. Oftentimes, people, when they discover that there's a product and it works and it's wonderful, they go crazy and they start using it like too much. And when you use too much of a product, no matter how good it is, that can also cause buildup. You don't want that. You don't want that. We don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? And number 3, avoid products that you now know cause buildup. Such as like certain gels cause buildup, beeswax cause buildup, honey cause buildup, right? Thick and dense oils cause buildup, and especially if you're not using it properly, and a lot of times people don't use it properly. I'll give you an example of a thick and dense oil that is misused most of the time. Castor oil. And the reason for that is because castor oil is a growth oil. So people that want their hair to grow, but they want it to grow right now, they use a lot of it, and it's really thick on there, and it builds up, and disaster happens. So be careful. Don't overuse products. Okay? Proactive, not reactive. Proactive, not reactive. Right? Now, to be proactive in preventing buildup when washing hair, again, as I said before, so now we're on number 4. Properly washing your hair. What do I mean by properly washing your hair? Number 1, you want to use a good clarifying shampoo. Use a good clarifying shampoo. A good clarifying shampoo. Again, I said before, I'll say it again. Mine I use is Made for Locs shampoo. There are 3 really good detoxifying shampoos that Made for Locs provides: apple cider vinegar or ACV shampoo, the black charcoal shampoo, and the Castile shampoo. Okay, those 3, they will break things down and clear away all that buildup out of your hair, and mostly natural. Remember, I said there's no such thing as all natural. There has to be some kind of preservative in there for it to have a shelf life. So, mostly natural. But it does not contain sulfate. It does not contain parabens. It does not contain phthalates, harmful ingredients that can be harmful to your health and hair. Okay? It doesn't have those things in it. So, no silicone, none of that stuff. So, And don't worry, I'm going to pop the pictures up here somewhere so you can see the shampoos that I'm talking about. Because I'm too lazy today to get up and go get it off my table out there. Okay. Be proactive and preventive. Number 5, we're going to talk about how to prevent lint buildup in your hair. Cover your hair. Cover your hair. Now, when do we do that? I'm not saying go everywhere and be out in the streets walking around with a bonnet on your head. That is not what I'm saying. That ain't what I'm saying. Okay? And if you do that, that's your business. It ain't got nothing to do with that. If you like it, I love it. What I'm saying is, when needed and when necessary, cover your hair. So, this morning when I got up to get dressed, this is a pullover t-shirt. I kept my bonnet on, so when I put the t-shirt on, it's not rubbing fibers that's going to stick to my hair. Now, you see my hair is laying on my t-shirt right now, which is why each night before I go to bed, I do take my lock brush. I moisturize my hair, and then I brush it with my lock brush before bed every night. Okay, then I put my bonnet on and I go to bed. That's what I do, right? So when I'm getting dressed and I'm pulling clothes over my head, I make sure that my hair is covered before I pull any fabric over my head, because a lot of times the inside has more fabric fibers than the outside of a garment. So, and when I sleep at night, I wear a bonnet because I toss and turn. I do a lot of tossing and turning. I don't want the fabric from my sleep apparel or my bed sheets or my blankets to get into my hair. So that's another reason why I cover my hair, to prevent lint. Another way you want to prevent lint, just don't dip your head. I'm just playing. But cover your hair as needed to prevent lint from building up on your hair. Because, like I said, lint builds up over time. It's not necessarily, oh, you put your head on this and 10 minutes later you have all of these balls of lint in your hair. Now, last week I had received a jumper in the mail from a company, and I love the jumper. It fits nice. It's really nice. Very flowy and things like that. However, I went into the bathroom and I'm looking in the mirror and I see all of these. It was like a mint green color almost. I think it was called emerald green something, but it was light. It wasn't like dark like an emerald, right? And I'm looking, I see all these little green dots in my hair. I'm like, what is that? And I look, and I had lint all over my hair from my hair being on the fabric. Now, the fabric doesn't even look like it accumulates lint like that. So I was like, what the heck? Okay, I'm not throwing this fabric, this jumper away, because I love the jumper. It's really nice. I said, but now I have to wear my hair up every time I wear this jumper, which is okay because it has a nice plunge neck and everything, so I can look nice and cute and sexy. So I don't care. I'm going to wear it, but I'm going to put my hair up when I wear it. So, yeah, that's how you prevent lint from building up in your hair. And if you see it, you can take it off the surface. If you see it on the surface, you can take it off the surface. If it's partially burrowed inside, then you take a pair of tweezers and kind of grab the outside of it and kind of pull it out before it gets all the way in there. Once it's in there, it's a lost cause. Your hair has taken the lint, and you gotta let it go. Okay? But I'm going to tell you what to do about that if that does happen. So sit tight. So the most effective way to remove buildup, and we're talking about product and oil and all of that stuff. We're not talking about the lint just yet. Because like I said, if there's a buildup caused by lint, that means the lint is in the lock and it's there to stay. So that's a different topic. I'm specifically talking about product buildup on your hair. The best and most effective way to prevent that from happening is to do a detox. Now, there's a couple of ways to do a detox, okay? And the first one is, give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So the first way to remove buildup is a detox with made for Locs, Loc Deep in Detox Bar. There you go. Okay. See? Now, how did we use this? I talked about it in my last video. I talked in the last couple of revised videos. It's like a bath bomb. You take it out of here, you put it in your basin. I have an inflatable basin that I lay down on the floor and really relax when I do my detox. And I fill the basin with warm to hot, so more closer to hot than warm. And then I drop that in there, right? Sometimes I put a few pumps of the ACV shampoo in there with it, and I'll just lay there. You know that song, right? And you let it soak. And what it does is it breaks up all of the stuff that's inside of your lock. And it all comes floating out. And the water that was once white and clean and beautiful turns into this murky mess from the stuff that was inside. And when you finish with your detox, you can actually do the squeeze test to feel the difference from before and after. Do the squeeze test before and do it after you've done it. And you'll feel the difference in your hair, okay? Now, if you have like massive buildup, and I've done detoxes with people that had massive buildup in the hair, and it's a muddy mess, then you need to do one that's even more intense. And that one is the ACV detox. And oftentimes people do a combination of ACV and baking soda. Now, scientifically, there is no proof that the two of them together makes a difference. Baking soda is pretty much alkaline, and then there's the ACV that breaks it down, the acidity in it breaks it down. So I think that's why people put the two together, and it really, but the two together can be intense. So you have to replace the moisture in your hair after doing the ACV detox, which is why it's highly recommended to use a, what word am I trying to use? A hydrating shampoo, right? That's going to rebalance your pH levels in your hair, because the alkaline in the baking soda increases the pH levels of your hair. And I think that's generally why the ACV and the baking soda is mixed together, because the acidity in the ACV helps keep the pH level in your hair more balanced if you're going to add baking soda to it. However, the ACV by itself will do the job. Now, what I will tell you this, I've seen videos where people pouring the ACV directly out of the bottle onto the person's hair. You don't want to do that. ACV works best when it's diluted in water. So don't just pour it straight on your hair. It can be irritant. It can be an irritant to your skin. So that's not a good idea to just pour it directly on a person's head. The same thing with the baking soda. Don't pour it directly on a person's hair. Mix it in the water, and then submerge your water into your hair into the water, and let the formulated water do the job. It's intense when you're putting it directly on the hair, and you may be causing more damage, more harm than good. So mix it in the water and then submerge your hair in the water. Now, with the ACV, the formulated way to do that is ratio of 1:1. So if you use 1 cup of ACV, apple cider vinegar, then you use 1 cup of baking soda if you're going to use the 2. But that's per 2 gallons of water. So 2 gallons of water, 1 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of baking soda, let it mix together, and then submerge your hair. Okay? And sometimes, especially if it's massive buildup, you got to do it a number of times. But again, after the soak, you want to use a really good hydrating shampoo to replenish the moisture to your hair, so your hair doesn't feel like hay. Okay, that's how you prevent it and get it out. Now, for lint that's embedded in your locks that you can't get out, there is a way to handle that. But I have a do here and I have a don't here. Okay. Now the way to handle that is pretty much to color it so it can match as close as possible to the color of your hair. Do use a colorant such as a door or tint that is closest to your hair color that you can use to make the lint match more to your hair color. And that's fine. You can put that on. You don't even have to leave it on that long because it's fabric, so it'll hold the color pretty quickly. You can just put it on there for a few minutes, let it sit, 5 minutes, rinse it out, and pretty much it's covered. Okay. Don't use Sharpie markers to color, because Sharpie markers contain agents such as xylene, toluene, and urethane, and those are poisonous. They're poisonous if it's like an ink poison. So it's poisonous if you ingest it, and it's even more if you inhale it. So like if it's in your hair, you washing your hair, you wet it, it creates a gas that now you're breathing it in, and you can get sick. So don't use Sharpies. Don't use markers to color the lint in your hair. Use colorants, but don't use markers. A lot of people have said, oh yeah, you can just get a Sharpie. No, don't do that. Okay? Because even people say, oh, well, surgeons use it when, no, I still be like, no, don't use that Sharpie on my skin. And a lot of times I think a lot of doctors say they use a safe ink or something. I don't know, but I tell them don't draw on my skin. Don't do that. So yeah, don't use Sharpies in your hair. So we have reached the end of this Locs Talk on buildup and how to prevent it. Remember, we want to be proactive, not reactive. To be proactive is to prevent. To be reactive is to treat it after the fact. So if you have the information ahead of time to prevent it from happening, we don't want to get to the point where we have to treat it after the fact. I've done treatment on locks from new clients who were already locked that had massive buildup in their hair. I've removed buildup from hair that looked like thick tar. I've removed buildup from hair that took 2 or 3 detoxes because the water was really muddy and murky, and it was this really sticky paste that was just coming out of the person's hair. Their hair was a completely different color. After I was done. That's how much buildup was in their hair. So you want to be proactive, not reactive. And part of being proactive is making sure if you are working with a loctician, educate yourself, ask questions, and if they want to gatekeep, they might not be the right person for you. So yeah, I don't understand what the gatekeeping of information is all about. I educate my clients and they come back every time. They don't come back just for me to do their hair. They come back because it's an experience. When you provide an experience, that is what a good stylist, loctician, whatever you want to call yourself, is. It's not about just knowing how to do the hair. People want an experience. So provide that for them. Okay? Be proactive. So I'm going to remind you of the products that I spoke about in today's episode of Locs Talk. The shampoos that are best to use would be the ACV, apple cider vinegar shampoo, or black charcoal shampoo, or Castile shampoo, as well as the Made for Locs Vegan Lock Bar that detoxes your hair. Okay? You can go to the website. I'm going to put it down in the description for you to just click on the link. These are great products. I stand by them. I use them myself. My family uses them. My clients uses them. We all love Made for Locs. Made for Locs is the thing. So get to it and get your locks healthy, build up free. Until next time, thank you for joining me for Locs Talk.